Hi, in about 5 minutes I will have finished showing you how to make your happy, fun, smiley ball whack with an iPod wirelessly. Starting from exactly the place I left you at the end of the last tutorial, using Derivatives Touch Designer FTE. FTE is Free Thinking Environment, which means this is only one way to do this one thing. You might find other techniques and other methods of getting to the same results. Okay, here's where we left the last tutorial. This time I'm going to be trying to get data from my iPod Touch into Touch Designer here. And the program I'm going to use is called OSC Emote. It's available online for about $5. It has buttons available, it has sliders, has multi-touch, and it also uses the accelerometers, which is what we're going to be doing here. When you set up OSC Emote, you need to go to Settings and type in your IP address. You can find your IP address by hitting your Windows key, which on my keyboard looks like a sun logo, strangely enough. Type in CMD for a command prompt, and type ipconfig. This tells you your IP address. Right there, I can see mine is 192.168.1.102, which is what's already entered here. So with any luck, everything should magically work when I tab and pull up an OSC in chop. You'll see that once we change the network port to 57110, we'll see the three axes of the accelerometers from -1G to +1G in any direction. So from here, I'm going to grab two of the accelerometers with a select chop. I'm going to grab XYZ2 and XYZ1. Both of those I'm going to need to look at the range. I know it can go from -1G to +1G. Actually the max goes to 3, but when you're tilting it you only get 1G. And I want that to tilt my image from 45 degrees off axis to 45 degrees positive on that axis. And I'm going to add a null, as I almost always do to the end of a string of chops. This makes it easier to export things and not change anything. So here's my chop exporter, and I'm going to look at my geo parameters. I'm going to put XYZ2 into the rotational x-axis. I'm going to put XYZ1 into the rotational y-axis. And we can see we now have a very, very jumpy but correctly moving smiley face. Let's get rid of that jump. I'm going to take advantage of the fact that I used a null export, and I'm going to put something in upstream here. I'm going to pull up a lag chop, which delays the reaction of the data by a little bit. And I still want a little more delay, so I'm going to change this to ½ a second instead of 0.2 of a second. You notice I enter on the number pad, but you can also just middle mouse hold and scroll. This gives you a nice interactive way to see what your changing of the parameter is actually doing. And we now have a fairly decently moving wireless character animation thing. All I have to do now is add the whack function. To add the whack function, I'm going to pull up a math chop. I'm going to have it look at all three of the accelerometers. I'm going to have it look at all the channels and pull only the maximum figure from those three channels, which I am then going to use to trigger an action. When it goes over 2Gs, I'm going to let that trigger do something, but only when I hit it to create something over 2Gs. And I add a null, because that's the kind of guy I am. So my chop exporter on the null is going to go looking into my geo, enter, H to see where we are. Here's the noise chop. I'm going to export that trigger function to my amplitude. So now, when you whack it for more than 2Gs, it gives an amplitude from 1 gracefully recovering back to 0. So if I get rid of my chop exporter and go up a level and make it look pretty, this is exactly where we started 5 minutes ago. Thanks for watching.